Hi, my name is Gary. Yeah, I have my slide here. So let me introduce myself. I'm Gary Murakami, probably the only Japanese presenter today or in this whole session. YCP Solidians is an M&A advisory management consulting firm supporting multinational corporations' business growth in Asia. So our battlefield is in Asia. We have been supporting the clients more than 1,000 projects over the last 12 years since our establishment. And we are probably one of the largest, if not, yeah, one of the largest M&A advisory advisors for corporations, and we are also focusing on fintech and non-bank sector. So today, I would like to talk about the fintech landscape, particularly focusing on buy now, pay later, BNPL, for Southeast Asia business. So just starting from the statistics, yeah, this is, the light is weak, so I may not use the pointer. In 2022, the transaction value of fintech and whole fintech is 283, which is going to be grown to 1.1 trillion, with 19% CAGR over the next 10 years. And we believe this will definitely happen. However, notably, this alternative financing is where starting from $24 billion to $159 billion, apparently higher growth than other fintech spaces. So we think alternative financing, including BNPL, P2P lending, crowdfunding, this is the prominent area of the growth in this fintech. And let's see how this 8 or 159 number is broken down into by these detailed fintech or the alternative financing space. So you see 8 and 159. This growth is mainly driven by BNPL, buy now, pay later. So this is where we are going to focus on today mostly in our presentation, is simply because BNPL consists of the large portion of alternative financing, and alternative financing is the most rapidly growing sector in fintech. And this previous slide, well, 8 or basically 7 to 138 of this BNPL sector, I want to show you how they are broken down into countries in Southeast Asia. Right now, in 2022, as of now, the business is mostly concentrated in Indonesia, with very small portion in other countries, including Thailand. It's very small, $0.1 billion transaction value. So it's still not very prominent. But this will be driven by three drivers. Basically, it's unbanked population, which was also mentioned in the previous forum. And smartphone diffusion. Apparently, people will start to use a smartphone, and also the e-commerce potential. This is also happening in everywhere in Southeast Asia. This will drive this BNPL market size to be $138 billion. And as you see, compare the numbers between 2022 and 2030, some countries actually grow by not just 10x, but more than 20 or 30 folds in the next 10 years. Thailand specifically, if you see, 0.1 to $11 billion, so it's almost 100 times bigger. So we expect this trend to happen and show you who the current players are and how they're going to be in today's session. Okay, so these are the flags of Southeast Asia from Indonesia, Philippines, Vietnam, Malaysia, Singapore, and Thailand. And these are the logos of BNPL players in each country. So it's very fancy color. So you see a lot of companies already out there. perhaps 10 companies, 10 players in each country. So I assume that most of your audience is in Thailand, and you see some of the names, familiar names on the last row. So there are too many players, so we would like to categorize these into three today, called independent BNPL, bank BNPL, and retailer BNPL. Well, apparently the name bank BNPL means it's owned by a bank, and it's a part of a bank's product or solution to provide BNPL, buy now, pay later solution to consumers. So basically, it's attached to bank, and you cannot, it's owned by a bank. And retailer BNPL apparently is like a Shopee pay later, you see on the bottom. It's owned by Shopee, and Shopee offers product to you, and you can use BNPL to buy their products. So it's owned by retailer and used for specifically for that retailers or e-commerce players. So what is independent BNPL? So this is the rest, but the definition is that it's apparently independent and works for merchants in general who do not have BNPL options. So basically, it's this is pretty common right now, as you see in the next slide. So when we categorize BNPLs into independent, bank, and retailer, you see the whole numbers are clustered into this independent BNPL. So this is what the landscape right now in Southeast Asia. Thailand is a bit different, but well, still, bank, retailer, BNPL, there are a few players. Other countries are a little bit different, but I would like to show you how this is going to change in the next decade. This is the market share by BNPL players in each country. So what it says, 47%, it means that they have 47% market share in each in the respective country, and just showing the top 3 players and the share, and the rest is others. So right now you probably see that no conqueror of this whole region. In other regions, North America or in Europe, there is already a dominant player that conquers whole countries, but that's not happening yet. So you see some names repetitive in this Southeast Asia, but we cannot still say that there is some significant player that already covers whole market. And these names are all locals. Well, locals or regional players. There is no player from America or Europe. So that's where the situation is in Southeast Asia. And using the same number, we are just recategorizing the market share or category share by independent bank and retailer. As you clearly see, right now the market is pretty much dominated by the independent BNPL players. If you multiply the transaction value, you can see how much each of the players are making in terms of transaction value at this point. So this is going to change, and this is something that we want to present to you today. And similar slide, but left-hand side is just showing the number of players of BNPL operators. As you see the numbers on the right-hand side, 10, 10, 9, 9, 7, 8. These are the number of the BNPL players. As you saw the logos, there are around 10 per country. So that's where they are. But this is going to change in 2030. Particularly if you look at the numbers on the right-hand side, there will be more than 10-folds of numbers of players in next 10 years. And also the color of the graph is pretty much getting more blue, meaning that there will be bank BNPLs and retailer BNPLs will be more and more cropping up. It's not that independent BNPLs are getting less. Their numbers are also growing. They're going to grow, but there will be a lot more entry of bank BNPL or retailers to do BNPL business. And I'd like to show you how this is going to happen. Okay, so this is the market share, like image of 3 players. First of all, independent BNPL players had a high market share, and even as until now, it has the highest market share. But it's gonna go drop, and what's gonna happen is, first of all, banks to have BNPL functions or product by the peer pressure. So as you already see in KBank, SCB, they already have pay later function, and all the banks will eventually do this to compete against each other. And BNPL will be a must product by banks. Next, what's going to happen in the medium term is for retailers to be more keen to have customer spending insight or customers' credit. So they will, major e-commerce or retailers will also have in-house BNPL rather than using independent BNPL players' service. And independent BNPL players will eventually, share will be lower. This will grow, but share will be lower, and they will continue to serve SMEs who do not have BNPL in-house solutions. And we expect that this line will cross, and then eventually retailer BNPL will be much higher. And how is this going to happen is, we believe that M&A, mergers and acquisitions, will be the key driver. Basically that independent BNPL players will be bought by banks or retailers. That's what's going to happen, and that's what we believe. I would like to show you why these players will buy BNPL. And for independent BNPL players, it's obvious because they can just gain economy of scale. For banks, it's an increase of product. So they can cross-sell new product or solution to consumer, as well as offering a solution to merchants. So cross-sell is the objective. And retailer BNPL, retailer, you can imagine, let's say, Home Pro, for example, or IKEA. They are not financial institutions. So they're also keen to acquire back-end technology of Fintech or BNPL players. And moreover, they want to have the customer insights. They are just having probably the membership points. They know about the spending of the customers, but they do not have the information about their credit. But by starting BNPL, they can also have such customer insights or credit of the customers. That's the point of retailers to have BNPL. So just to summarize, the objective for independent BNPL is to just consolidate. For banks to expand product, and retailers to possibly become a bank. So this is the interesting point about having a fintech. Banking business or banking industry used to be highly regulated, very difficult business to enter. But with retailers who already have customers, and they also, of course, have products, they can acquire BNPL, the fintech, and to become a bank, which is even could be a threat for banks because they can lend money when consumer goes to their shop and then wants to buy their products, and there will be banks. Banks do not have a product, so retailers' presence in the banking industry could be a threat for the banks. I would like to show you this M&A trends as a part of the last part of this session. So these are the transactions, number of the transactions, or meaning that number of the M&A happening in BNPL. So the number of the, or each cell shows that how many BNPLs are acquired in each year. In the past, it was mainly independent BNPL players, the gray ones, buying the companies, but gradually banks are now the biggest players. Why are banks buying BNPL over the last couple of years is, well, apparently BNPL is getting more widespread, tool for consumer. In the past, BNPL was seen as still a sketchy product, but now the regulation is set and banks are more relieved to acquire the business or start the business. And moreover, there are keen sellers. Basically, there are more tech startups starting BNPL businesses. Eventually, some of them are losing out in the competition and then selling the business. So, yeah, these are the factors that have happened. And I would like to show you our forecast, how it's going to look like. So, right now, until 2023, banks are the major buyers. Gradually, retailers, the darker blue color, will be the major buyers in BNPL space. Why? Well, first of all, number of the players in retail business, there are many more than banks. You can name all the retailers, if you drive around the town, you see maybe 20, 30 retailers easily, and actually there are even more. So number of the retailers are definitely more. So that's main reason for them to be a buyer. In addition, they are not banks or they are not financial institutions. They are in need of this technology or finance experience, and that will also drive them to acquire companies rather than starting or building up on their own. Lastly, the intense competition with e-commerce for retailers will drive them to acquire business to transform themselves quickly as possible. Okay, so as a summary of this session, I wanted to just share that retailers could be a bank through acquiring BNPL businesses. So BNPL itself has seen a little bit of struggle, honestly, because their business model was not necessarily correct. But BNPL to be a part of larger organizations such as banks or retailers, one function, this could be a very threatening trend that could happen to the banking industry. So this is it, but I would like to also share the last part about the valuation. As an M&A advisor, we are often asked, okay, well, fintech's still very expensive, but actually it's getting much more affordable over the past. In the beginning, so orange one is the median, so of all the BNPL players, listed players globally. In the past, it was, and this is the price to book value multiple, PB ratio of fintech or BNPL businesses. In the past, it was very expensive, about 5x, but it's getting lower since 2021, down to 1.5x of PB multiple right now. So it's no longer expensive. It's fair value as general financial institutions. Okay, this concludes my presentation today. Thank you.